Welcome. And news coming in from Bomet indicates that a lorry ferrying timber has lost control and hit several stationed border operators before plunging into a river. The accident occurred less than an hour ago, a kilometer away from Bomet town. Rescue operations are currently underway, and reports from the scene of the accident say Red Cross officials are at the scene together with local police. We cannot at the moment ascertain if there are any casualties, but we will keep you updated as soon as information is availed to us. And Nyeri Governor Nderitu Gachagua and Kieni legislator Kanini Kega are condemning the public standoff between the National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale and the chair of the Governor's Council, Isaac Ruto. Ruto and Duale disagreed in public in the presence of Deputy President William Ruto in Bomet County, and the two leaders, while officiating over the flag-off of several projects in Kieni, such as at the commencement of road construction, water projects, and abattoir, amongst others, say there is need for tolerance and patience from leaders. And the two also reiterated that the URP party needs to put its house in order and streamline operations within the party.
Ni maneno yalikuwa ya kushtusha ama ya kushtua, manake wote ni wa chama moja. Kwa hivyo mimi ningewaomba kwamba chama chetu, tukisema chama chetu ni muungano wetu wa Jubilee, ni vizuri hata sisi tukae chini, lakini sana sana hata mimi ningeomba chama cha URP kama wanaweza keti kama nyumba, waongee maneno haya ya referendum, labda itasaidia, manake haisaidii hata kidogo wakati viongozi wako na marubano.
And it is also very, very unfortunate what happened in Narok between the leader of majority and the chairman of the Council of Governors. Let us be tolerant. Let us moderate our language in public, because we are all leaders. And even as we have different views, I think it is good for people to respect each other, so that even as we differ, you know, with sobriety, with decorum, and that is the way Kenyans should be, because we may not necessarily see things the same way, but as leaders, we must set an example to Kenyans, even as we engage in public.
Let's head to Nakuru now, and 3 suspected robbers were last night shot dead by police along Nakuru-Nairobi Highway at Mbaruk of Nakuru town. The 3 were cornered following a tip-off from members of the public. Nakuru OCPD Bernard Kioko says they have been trailing the gang for a while, as they've been terrorizing residents in Nyahururu and Nakuru. The 3 were in police uniform when they were killed.
The 3 are said to be part of about 10-member gang that has been operating in Nyahururu town, Gilgil, Naivasha and Nakuru. According to police, the gang was planning to commit series of crimes in Nakuru town, including attacks on security vehicles with money in transit and carjacking a lorry loaded with electronic goods heading to Kampala from Nairobi.
7 p.m. we laid an ambush, and the gangsters appeared with 2 vehicles. They were targeting a lorry. They tried to block the lorry, and the lorry was trying to evade from them. Then we came out from our ambushes. We confronted them.
Kioko says a shootout ensued, but they overpowered the gang, killing 3.
We are trailing the car because it is spent off toward Gilgil. We have informed our counterparts.
The vehicle they used is suspected to have been stolen, as its registration plates had been tampered with.
And the men who are already dead were wearing smoke jackets, 2 covered their faces that you can't identify them.
Police recovered an AK-47 and 5 rounds of ammunition, among other assorted crude weapons. The OCPD is also sounding a warning to robbers to keep off Nakuru, as security has been heightened. He thanked members of the public for cooperating with the police. Kamche Menza, KTN, Nakuru.
Now, the Kenya Association of Private Employment Agencies is raising concern over reports that the organization has been neglecting Kenyans who have found their way to Saudi Arabia to seek employment. The organization is instead blaming the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for what it claims is the ministry's negligence when registering employment agencies.
Fadhalini kwa hisani yenu, musiende kusajiliwa kiholela. Musikubali kwenda kwenye mahoteli, mikahawa ama barabarani mtu anakusajili anasema anakupeleka kwa kazi ya nje, usikubali katwe. Lazima uhakikishe hiyo kampuni imesajiliwa na serikali, uhakikishe hiyo kampuni imekubaliwa na Ministry of Labor, imekubali huyu mtu afanye kazi. Kesho mtu wako anakuja anasema fulani amepata tatizo mahali fulani, tutaulizana aje? Utaenda kwa nani? Kwa sababu umesajiliwa barabarani, utarudi pale barabarani utamkuta huyo mtu ameshaondoka ameenda zake. Sasa kwa hivyo tuangalie sana na tufikirie sana haya maneno ya usajili ya watu kwenda kufanya kazi nje, tufikirie mara mbili, na ukienda kufanya kazi hiyo ni wajibu wako.
Countries in the Eastern Africa region have reached a joint agreement on preparedness and emergency response to the Ebola outbreak. In a two-day high-level ministerial meeting in Nairobi, it was noted that there has been an improvement in preparedness to handle the virus, and this includes increased surveillance systems, isolation units, as well as awareness creation.
The World Health Organization does not recommend any ban on international trade or travel. ICAO fully supports this WHO recommendation based on the available information, including, to mention a few, the fact that the risk of transmission of Ebola virus disease during air travel is low.
The chances of anybody traveling when he has developed the symptoms are almost zero.
The Ebola has not been contained. I think for the next 6 months, it will be a big challenge. The figures which came from WHO was talking about maybe 20,000 cases of infection. And so we have to remain vigilant. And we do not have to rush this decision about reviewing these flights. But of course, at an appropriate time, we shall be able to get back to you.
Let's move on now to Kisii County, where the Assembly Speaker Kerosi Ondieki has survived impeachment. This was after 65% of MCAs voted for the motion to remove him, while 35% voted to support him in a secret ballot. The motion was tabled by Samuel Onuko and presided over by Deputy County Assembly Speaker Evans Mokoro. Ondieki is accused of employing over 400 staff whose positions were not advertised, and Ondieki also allegedly single-sourced for goods and services on behalf of the County Assembly. Deputy Speaker Evans Mokoro ordered a number of committees, including appointment, implementation, budget and human resource, to look into the matter and report to the House on the 24th of this month.
In this county assembly section, leave alone the executive, we cannot manage, we cannot sustain and retain 517 employees. Sincerely speaking, our major problem is unemployment is there. But we employ people to come and sit and hoof around.
The Central Organization of Trade Unions, COTU, is calling on African governments to institute legislations that will ensure women play more pivotal roles in governance in the continent. And while closing a 3-day conference on transforming women leaders in trade unions, COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli underscored the role of women in governance, saying most African states are not giving adequate attention to women leaders, and the meeting brought together women leaders from 54 African countries and held discussions and views on the role of women on the continent's social, political and economic manifestation, as well as developing strategies aimed at countering the many cultural hurdles that African women face.
Those in authorities, I mean both employers and governments, must listen to us and they can only listen to us if we are properly organized, united, pragmatic, focused, and totally committed to our cause. Let us make equality, particularly on gender issues, our priority and fight obstacles that hinder the working women's progress, and together let us build a fairer and a better trade union movement in the region. If we do so, we will attract the organization of the African Trade Union Unity. We will also attract other worker-related organizations. We will also attract the intervention by the International Labour Organization in those areas of uplifting our sisters who toil from morning to evening in their various places of work.
The National Blood Transfusion Services has sent out a call to Kenyans to develop the culture of donating blood. According to the institution, the country's blood reserve stands at a risky low as annual blood donation stands at 160,000 units against a demand of 400,000. Now, this shortage leaves hundreds of patients at the risk of death. In the first ever scientific conference on blood donation transfusion currently taking place in Naivasha, medical stakeholders stated that urgent need to address this situation is needed, and the Health Ministry is reviewing the National Blood Transfusion Service Management Bill of 2014 before handing it to Parliament.
The units that we get are managed properly, and we are also making what we call components. Instead of using a whole unit, which is 500 milliliters for a child, we split it into 3.
We need to also advocate and educate them, because there are myths. People think if they give blood, they will get anemic or they will die. It's not true.
Now, in a case of abandonment, there was drama in Naivasha town after a woman cunningly abandoned her newly born twins with a trader. The woman, said to be a flower farm worker, allegedly approached the trader asking her to briefly hold the babies while she searches for a baby care center. She then failed to return, and area leaders condemned the incident, pointing out that cases of babies being abandoned in Naivasha is on the rise. Police are searching for the mother of the twins.
Hata mimi ni shido kama ni jini juu nilifungua mlango nitoke niangalie upande mwenye alienda, hata si kuona alienda wapi.
Kwa hivyo mimi natahadharisha wakina mama wale wako na watoto, wakati unapeleka mtoto wako pahali uchungiwe, uangalie amewekwa pahali panapostahili.
Hii kesi zimeongezeka sana, hasa hapa Naivasha imekuwa shida kila wakati. Na ile jambo la maajabu sana ama ya kuhusunisha ni kwamba wale watoto ambao wanatupwa wengi wao ni wale wana disability. Kuna watoto ambao wako hapa hospitali saa hii, kuna mtoto hawezi akaamuka, mtoto ni mkubwa alitupwa kwa sababu ya disability.